Hi guys, this is Mina from Coach My Life. I'm here to talk to you about anxiety today, and it's a huge topic, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do justice enough to it in a small video like this, and it's really getting me quite worried, to be fair, because I don't know if I've got enough knowledge on this topic, and if what I share is going to be understood, or if I'm going to do a good job of it, and I might even do really badly. But that's okay. I'm doing it, and that's what matters. You see, it's normal to have these kind of voices in our mind that we're not going to do something good enough, and it's sometimes really, really difficult to sort of quieten those sounds and those voices, and that's what anxiety really is. It starts with a thought that spirals out of control and whizzes around, and it's just really hard to shut it up, to be fair. This then develops into sensations such as sweaty palms, increases your heartbeat, you have a nervous disposition, you have shortness and shallow breathing, and brain fog as well. Now, that's how it manifests really, and anxiety manifests in those physical forms that I've just mentioned, and it's a perceived fear, and it's a feeling of feeling stuck, feeling not good enough, feeling lonely, second guessing yourselves, second guessing ourselves, and of what we're really capable of, what can we really do. And all we want really is this feeling to stop. Now, in my view, that's actually the reason it doesn't stop, because we want it to stop, we want to silence it, we want to shove it down. But we need to listen to this anxiety. What is it actually saying? What is the anxious feeling actually telling us about what we're bothered about? What are we really bothered about? And ultimately, the brain wants to keep you safe, okay? And that's what it's doing. It's constantly keeping you safe from any type of danger, any perceived threat. Yeah. So, for example, you might want to be doing a presentation, and you might be scared how other people are going to receive it. You might be wanting to organize an event and be worried about, who's going to turn up. You might want to be writing a novel, but worried about who's going to receive that. You may be wanting to, take your business out there and anxious about even doing that. And it doesn't have to be really, really big things. For some people, it's crippling enough just to wake up in the morning and get out of their bed and go to the corner shop without having this constant fear, and it's bothering them continuously. So we kind of know what it looks like, and the brain knows what it looks like. And I think that's one of the issues, you see, because we know what it looks like, we're scared to have it and hold it and have to deal with it daily, because we've had a taste of it and we don't like it. And that's where it comes back to that idea that actually it's not about quietening the voice or removing the voice, but it's about listening to it. Why do I feel anxious right now? What is bothering me right now? Why do I feel unsafe right now? In my view, anxiety is not illness, but it's an emotion, and it has to be dealt with with compassion. From working with those that have anxiety and from my own research, I've kind of come to some sort of reasoning that we only have to change the way that we think about anxiety to find a route out. So, for example, if your anxiousness is making you feel that there's a threat, then think of a safe place. If it's fear, think of a safe place. If you're fearing failure, think of success. Now, all day, every day, anxiety can be debilitating, and we don't have to be standing in front of a crowd like I said earlier, that to do something to change it. We just feel anxious. We just feel it. And I sometimes use the phrase that we're born with anxiety. What I mean by that is that if you saw something threatening and scary, you'd run away. So your brain's telling you to do that. Or if you had someone who was going to attack you, or you'd automatically defend yourself with that, either run or escape or whatever you need to do to get yourself out of harm. If you saw a creature coming in the forest, you would run. Some people would freeze, and that's another form of anxiety as well. Now that's all good, that's all great. They're all survival tools that we've had in our life, and that's what the brain was there for. It's there to protect us. But what happens when there's actually only a perceived threat, only a thought that's made you think that there's a bear in the forest? Yeah, only a thought that's made you think that there's fire there when there's not. Now the problem is when there's no real threat, except for the sort of thoughts and the patterns that have developed in your mind to say, oh my God, if I do this particular thing, then it will be a threat. So once we've sort of created that story, we move away. So we move away from the thing that we want, and that's when the issue happens. So we really, really want this success. We really, really want this thing to develop. We really, really want to be successful in our lives, in our relationships, but we've got fear, and it's holding us back. So when I said that we're born with it, what I really mean is that when a young child who hasn't perceived any type of threat before, so it's new to them, they don't tend to move away from that threat. So this is why we spend a good deal of our time with children saying, don't touch that, don't jump from there, don't stand on that, you'll fall, be careful, it's hot. But they take the risk because they don't know, and their brain hasn't developed into that area where they know, do this and this will happen. So they don't know the consequences. So for example, if you did put them in a full room of like, go and now perform, go and perform in a huge room, and they'll be fine with it because they don't understand the concept of making a fool out of themselves. I'm not saying singers are making fools out of themselves, but you've got this concept, but they don't really care about how they look and how they are and how they're coming across. We only develop that later on as we grow up. So so in a case of a young child, that's too hot doesn't mean anything. They're still going to go and touch a hot mug, and because a child's just absorbing everything in the environment and the information is becoming really interesting for them, so they're just on this kind of subconscious level are just like enjoying everything that all the sensory experiences that they're having. But we can't revert to that innocent stage. Okay, we can't, because we know a hot mug is a hot mug. Now the issue is that when we start to perceive everything as a hot mug, so what I mean by that is that every opportunity that you're getting, every single opportunity that's coming your way, you're perceiving it as a hot mug, and that's a problem because that will become debilitating and not allow you to develop into what you really want to develop into. Okay, so like I said, we can't reverse into this innocence of no caring attitude because the brain is not a fool anymore. So what we're always kind of trying to do is we're trying to find an off switch for this feeling of anxiety. Okay, now what we have to realize is that as we mature, anxiety is heightened and it kind of changes form and shape, if that makes sense. And the reason for that is that, for example, somebody might be grieving. So their anxiety levels that they've had before, they've known them, they recognize them, but what they've noticed is that actually after a grief, the anxiety levels are higher. If we have a loss of any type, it could be a financial loss, again, the anxieties are going higher. So any exposure we have, any trauma we have, it just expands that anxiety even further. So now we're in that territory of it's getting worse. Okay, so I'm saying that it's not an illness, it's an emotion. So that means that we have to deal with it differently. Because if we think it's just an well, not just an if we consider it as an illness, we kind of think about medication, we kind of think about being debilitated, we kind of think of it like we're not going to get out of this, it's going to be forever. Yeah. But if we think of it as an emotion, like I did a video on anger, understanding that it's actually pain. If we understand that it's just another emotion like pain, like fear, like sadness, what that does is it allows us to put the anxiety into perspective, that it's not you. So you are not the whole identity. Your whole identity isn't anxiety, but it's just a part of you. And you know, it's a part of us that we don't really like to get in touch with, but is constantly knocking on the door of the brain and saying, here I am, be careful, don't do that, that's dangerous. So when I also say accept anxiety, and when I mean accepting anxiety, I don't mean that it should affect you at the level it is right now. What I mean is that give it some compassion. Listen to what is it saying. What is it saying? Why is it keeping you safe? Why is it keeping you safe? So what we have to do really is to give it a different message. Okay, and this is where my therapy really is. It was just phenomenal. For so many people have actually come back to me and told me how great this is with anxiety, because what it does is it actually gets to the root cause of why you're anxious. Then it accepts your level of anxiety. Okay, so we accept it. Then we offer some compassion to it. We don't shut it up. We offer some compassion to it. But the last stage is the most important stage. We say to it, it's okay, we are safe. Okay, because it's a part of you, so we say, we are safe. Yes, I know I'm going to be a little nervous to do this. Yes, I know that, my business might get under. Yes, I know there's a risk to do this. But life is about taking risks as well, isn't it? There is that excitement in there as well. And I don't know if I've mentioned before, but excitement and anxiety have the exact sensations that you have in your body, that you feel when you're excited. Scientifically, it's proven that both of the feelings are exactly the same in your body. So that means when you're anxious, you're a little bit excited as well about something. So if you kind of take your thought to that rather than feeling anxious about it. So you might be excited that you need to get up and go and do something, meet a friend. Although you might be thinking, oh, anxious, I feel really anxious about this because I don't like socializing. Or I feel really anxious about, doing something new with my life, doing a new venture. But actually I'm anxious, but actually maybe I'm excited as well. You may be anxious for a multitude of reasons, but just check. Is there some hidden excitement? Is there a goal in there that you're trying to really achieve and it's keeping you safe and you're worried? So what we do is we dialogue with the subconscious, with the anxiety, and say to it, I totally understand where you're coming from. I understand you're keeping me safe, but it's okay. I have it. What that does is it quietens the anxiety down. It doesn't silence it, it quietens it, because anxiety is not a negative emotion actually, because it does keep you away from harm. It does protect you from harm in some places. It's just when I said, like the example of seeing everything as a hot mug, then it becomes a problem, because then, because sometimes anxiousness or anxiety can be an indication that actually what you're doing is either too much, yeah, or too little. So some people are doing too little, and so they get up with this feeling that, they can wake up in the morning and think, what is my life? What am I doing in my life? And that's actually telling you that maybe you need to do more. Then the other side is that your anxiousness is constantly bothering you, and you're a very busy professional woman or man, person. But anxiety is constantly knocking on your door and saying, you know, you need to be more busy. You need to be more busy. Let's ignore the anxiety. Let's not talk about it. Again, this is why it's an emotion. You need to release it. You need to talk about it. You need to share it. And actually, the monster is far bigger than the one that you don't share. And this is honestly true. That if you don't share how you feel, if you don't share it, if you don't text somebody, if you don't phone somebody, if you don't pick up a phone call, if you don't communicate with somebody, if you don't write to somebody, if you don't journal, if you don't have a good chin wag with your friends, you know, and if you don't reach out, you will notice that you are much more anxious in your mind than in reality. So this is why it's sometimes associated as irrational fear. So it's bigger than what you think it is. The monster is bigger than you think it is. When actually, when you communicate with somebody and they're compassionate and they show compassion to you, you will notice that you've been really hard on yourself. You've had it tough, you know, and you need to show some compassion and kindness to yourself. And this is something I really encourage, especially in this pandemic. You know, we're several months into this pandemic as well. So please, 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 please reach out. Even if you just want to call me, honestly, I'm totally available. Anybody who just wants to talk to me about this issue, please don't feel lonely. You know, we're all here to help and support one another. That's why we're put on the earth. You know, we're not supposed to be lonely planets. So please do phone me, do give me a quick call, or even a text, drop me something, or even comment below on this post, so that maybe what you comment will help other people. And that's what we should do as a community. We should help each other. So yeah, do get in touch with me. It's because this is something I definitely can support you with in terms of anxiety. So because it's a feeling and it's an emotion, like I've just said, we have this feeling that something bad's going to happen. Now we have to establish, is it true? Is it really true that something bad's going to happen? Is it because you've had an experience of something bad that's happened and that's keeping you triggered and in that mode of frozen and blocking you? Or is it that it's a past memory? Or is it something that you don't know how it's going to turn out and that's what's worrying you the most? So is it the control factor that's worrying you? So these are the things that need to be unpicked from anxiety. Because you might be worried about something that's never going to even transpire. Okay, so you've actually created what I call a big monster in your mind, which is saying, you know what, oh my goodness, I'm just not going to be good enough. I'm not going to do a great job. I'm just not worthy of this. So the anxiety is holding you back from you and your successes. So just check in those. Check in, is this something that's actually really affecting me because I've done it before? It's an experience. Okay, so then we put it to a bad experience. All experiences don't have to end bad, you know, badly. Okay, then the other thing is it just something that you've created, like a story you've created? So we need to distinguish between what's true, you know, what's fact and fiction, that sort of thing. Once we've established that, we can actually start to talk to the subconscious in that way and say, well, actually, it's okay. I'm safe. I'm okay. It's okay. It is scary. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say to my anxiety, it's scary. And it's scary. But you know what? You're still going to do it. Even if it's scary, you're still going to go out there and do it. And that's the great power that you have, because you need to be the one in power. Don't give so much power to the anxiety. Communicate with it. Somebody once said a really great analogy, and I'm going to share it. Imagine that you're a captain of a ship and you're the person who's a captain and you've got the crew. Your crew is your anxiety telling you, watch out, be careful, go north, go east, you know, you're going too deep. So listen to your crew. Your crew is giving you advice, but you're the captain. You're the captain of that ship. So you need to say, great, thank you for pointing out I'm going east, west, wherever. Thank you for pointing out that it's too deep over there. But it's okay. I've got the steering wheel. Yeah, you need to have the control. Don't let the anxiety control you. And I know this is a lot easier said than done, but this is why I remove a lot of those blocks in my therapy. So please book in. If there's something that you're really, really worried about, you're anxious about, just book in. Just give me a call. Always here to help. Take good care. And it's so lovely to do this session. I'm sorry I was going to do this a lot earlier this month, but I have been fairly busy with other stuff. So, but I wanted to get it out in November, so I'm doing it today. Take good care, and I will see you all next time. Take good care. Bye.